Yo, Elliott, my question for you. What is your take on balancing work and personal development? I have listened to some advice which suggests to work for 12 hours straight per day, around 60 hours per week. Is it possible to focus only on work? Doing the math and subtracting another 8 hours for sleep, this results in 4 hours left. My concern is that I would like to grow in other areas besides my work. My take on this is to work on Saturdays as well so I can get more time during the week and carry on with my personal development. Please advise on this matter. Also, what I get is that my only focus should be work. This outcasts home chores and all other responsibilities. How do you manage this? I've never heard of such a lifestyle choice where work is everything, but I think it depends on your perspective, right? It depends on what you're calling work. Let's get real practical real quick first. So I was thinking about this today and how important my mornings are. And for my personal development, prayer, meditation, exercise, bonding time with my children when I'm training with them. These are, and then, self-care, right? Eating well, all these things, they add to personal development and I prioritize them in my day. I work a lot. I work many, many hours. I mean, we're approaching 8 o'clock now at night and I'm working here with you guys, but my mornings were mine. So from, and I get up, my wife and I get up very early. So 5 o'clock, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't take my first call until 10. So I have 5 hours of personal development every morning. I couldn't imagine rolling out of bed and getting right into work. Although I have done that. I did that when I was much younger. I was like 23, 24 years old. But that's unsustainable. So I don't live that way any longer. So when you're asking me about balancing work and personal development, you're not balancing them. You're prioritizing one over the other. And you know what you prioritize by what you do first thing in the morning. That's how you know what you value. What you value the most is what you'll make sure you find time for, and you'll place it at that time when you know that you are at your best. First thing in the morning is what it is for most people. So if you want to know what you value, look at what you do first thing in the morning. If you get up first thing in the morning and the first thing you do is look on your phone or you turn on the TV or turn on the news or obviously getting ready, you get ready for work. Well, then that's what you value. That's what you value most. If you value health and spiritual connection and relationships, these are the things that you're going to focus on in first few hours of the morning, right? I know it's kind of strange when I see married couples, like first thing in the morning when you guys are getting up together, there should at least be 5 minutes of like bonding time with your wife. My wife and I, it's not very long at all because we go our separate ways, but she goes and prays and I go and pray. But first 5 minutes, it's amazing to be able to just, pour a cup of coffee with her, hug. We hug a little bit, right? Just got out of bed. So you do those things that are most important to you very early on. Now, you're talking about is it possible to focus only on work? That gets into like, you got to define what you mean by that when you say focus on work, because it is work to follow your spiritual rule of the day, right? Like to meditate is work sometimes. It's not putting money in directly into my bank account, but indirectly because it's putting me to a state of balance with myself and God and getting rid of junk thoughts and things that are disturbing to me, then that's kind of like work too. I've heard it put a lot of different ways as well. I've had many different experiences because I've been doing this for a long time. But one of the things that a lot of people, or it was Joe Dispenza, speaking of new age guys, Joe Dispenza suggested this, and I thought it was a very good suggestion. And one day when I woke up and I was like just drowning in work and thoughts of work, he said, before you go meditate, because I was already committed to meditating. He says, before you go meditate, and he does this, he says, before you go meditate in your morning, and you take that space, write down everything that's on your mind. He says, pull out a sheet of paper and just brain dump. And by brain dumping, you free yourself up from the burden of all these things you think you need to do so that you can let go into your meditation. But notice that meditation is there. It's right there. It's very early. It's very up on that list, right? First things in the morning. So it's prioritizing those things. And listen, one of my more famous videos on my Strength Camp YouTube channel back when I was making those kinds of videos, talking about fitness, but I was talking about everything. And it went like this, the most important part of the game, right? We're playing a game here in life, right? But one of the most important part of the game is the game piece. It's you, right? If you come to the game tired, you come to the game beat up, worn out, and tripping over, work that's undone, you're not going to perform real well all around. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of are you getting even enough sleep, right? You talking about 8 hours of sleep, right? You're playing this game where you're trying to burn the candle at both ends. Like, how much sleep could I sacrifice? I've been listening to, not that it's a kind of a new thing, but I've known this for decades, how important sleep is. And I know, how important it's been for me since I was in high school and college. I know these kids who would stay up all night to study for a test. And I'm like, that's retarded, because whatever I read that late at night ain't gonna stick in my brain. So I realized that I better off just getting sleep. At least I'm fresh and my brain works. But I'm listening to all these entrepreneurs on YouTube, right? I was listening to Brandon Carter, old friend of mine, Hormozy. It was him and Hormozy. He was talking about Hormozy. These guys cherish their sleep. They spend extra money on tools that help them sleep. You believe that? They prioritize their sleep. And so you got to do the same thing. If you're going to be working hard, you got to rest hard as well. Otherwise, it's all going to come falling down. Working on Saturdays, nothing wrong with working on Saturdays. I work on Saturdays too. Also, what I get is that my only focus should be work. I never heard that before in my life. And I wouldn't go about living my life that way. Even when I was waking up, going to I was training people at 5:30 in the morning, and I wouldn't come home till very late at night. My children were very small, but I would come home in the middle of the day and I would be with them. There was always time to rest and to balance all things out. So I guess what I'm saying is that you got to pay attention to where you at in your life, and you got to prioritize, and you got to choose what's most important to keep you going. And if you have relationships, you got to work that in too. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Life is cool, man. It's cool when you have an abundant life. You got a lot going on, right? Just don't get too one-sided for too long. You got to be in balance sometime for a while. We'll be too imbalanced for too long. Okay, so that's my opinion on that, dude.
Porn. 68% of church-going men watch it secretly, hiding this vice from their wife. For other men, it's alcohol or drug use. Are you willing to risk your marriage, family, and finances for sinful pleasures and vice? Or are you ready to fight back? If you're a married Christian businessman or entrepreneur caught in the clutches of drinking, drugs, or jerking off, realize that every moment spent in these vices is literally destroying your life. Is this the man God called you to be? To live like this? If you're ready to go to war against vice and take your life back, here's my advice. Click the link in this video or visit waronvice.com to book a call with me to see if we're a good fit for going into battle together. I'll see you on the inside.